right. Well, hey, joining us today is one of the most iconic drummers in progressive rock today, and it's Mike Portnoy. Mike with Dream Theater, it is great to have you. I know you're over there and you're finishing up on probably what your last four dates of the tour.
Yeah, we're in Athens, Greece today, and we've been here for almost 2 months at this point, doing all of the amazing European festivals that go on every summer, and it's been an amazing run. But we're about to wrap up with the final week of shows, pretty much this last week.
Well, Mike is the founding member of one of the founding members of Dream Theater, 32-time Modern Drum Award.
Wow.
And I think you've been on the magazine, what, like 5 times on the cover?
That's correct, but who's counting?
Who's counting? Well, tell me a little bit about how the tour's going. It's your 40th anniversary for Dream Theater. Tell us a little bit how the tour's going so far over there, and give me a little bit of insight of what has been the most memorable part of this tour so far over there in Europe.
Well, we started this tour back in October, so we've been out here for 9 months or whatever. We did a European leg back last fall. Then we went to South America for a tour there in the winter, and then we did a full U.S. run in February and March. So we've already been around the world, in a lot of these markets now, celebrating the 40th anniversary. And like I just mentioned, we're over here now for a second European leg, doing a lot of festivals and summer shows. We're playing a great festival tonight here in Athens. And it's been amazing. We're celebrating 40 years of the band being together. We're celebrating me coming back to the band and the reunion of this lineup. And we're celebrating a new album, Parasomnia, which we put out this year. And we're going to continue with a U.S. leg in September and October. And that will be our second time through the States. And this time around, we'll be performing the Parasomnia album.
This is the biggest tour I think you guys have ever done, isn't it?
I would say so. Yeah. I mean, actually, in answer to your question, you asked what was the most memorable. I mean, the first night in London back in last October, we played the O2 Arena, and it was just an epic celebration. People came in from all over the world to join us and celebrate this lineup again. And yeah, it's been amazing each and every night. It's been the biggest tour this band has ever done in our 40-year career. It's been epic each and every place we go.
Well, on a sad note too, and then we'll get back more to the band. We just found out the news about Ozzy Osbourne passing away yesterday. How has that been for you guys, and what has been the reaction over there on your tour with the news breaking yesterday? And do you have any memorable stories of Ozzy yourself?
Well, for me personally, it's been really a somber 24 hours. I haven't even been with anybody else since the news broke. We had a day off here in Athens, so I've been in my room just celebrating the life and music of Ozzy and Black Sabbath, just listening to the music on constant shuffle, and just brings back so many memories. I mean, it's hard to think of a world without Ozzy. I mean, he was there impacting everybody's lives, and anybody from every walk of this industry, from musicians to actors to athletes, somebody like him really impacts so many lives around the world. And, my very first band when I was in junior high school, we were playing all the Ozzy and early Sabbath albums. So, I mean, I literally grew up with him. And it's been an incredibly sad 24 hours here. And, but the show must go on. So we're going to play tonight here in Athens and celebrate music and celebrate life together. And there'll be a lot of tears and a lot of smiles of joy as well, thinking about all the great stuff and the great times.
Yeah, and what a great line to say. The show must go on, because boy, look at what he did for his last show. I mean, here he was, not feeling the best, but still getting out there, giving the fans what they wanted, and what a great testament to Ozzy and what he's been throughout the years, always giving what the fans wanted.
It was almost more. It was, to me, to my perspective, it was more important than what the fans wanted. It was what he wanted. He went out on his terms. He threw the greatest farewell party of all time. Every one of the biggest bands in hard rock and metal were there to celebrate and honor him. And what a way to go out. I mean, really, it was the ultimate farewell party. And so happy that he and the fans were able to have that last moment together.
Pull Me Under was the first Dream Theater song that I heard, and was that 92? And you guys just captured me on that song.
Well, thank you.
Well, I'm sure that song, because that was the one thing that got you guys noticed as far as on the radio and the airplay in America, was that song. But out of all the songs that you've played, which one is the one that really just captures you and just sticks with you throughout this whole 40 years of playing?
Well, I mean, over those 40 years, there's hundreds of songs, and like the cliche goes, it's like picking a favorite child. They're all important to you, and they all mean different things to you. So I guess I'll just comment on "Pull Me Under," being you mentioned that particular one. I mean, that was the one that started it all for us, and probably I wouldn't be sitting here talking to you right now all these years later if that song hadn't caught on the way that it did. And it really catapulted the band into the big time. We had been around it for around 7 years at that point, having started in the mid 80s. But then when Pull Me Under hit in 92, suddenly it just opened up the floodgates for us. And we've been here ever since. But there's no rhyme or reason to it, because when you look at it on paper, that song should not have worked at that particular time. It was an 8.5-minute song in the heyday of grunge and alternative music,
right?
And we were the opposite of everything that was popular at that time. So
thank
maybe
goodness for that.
Well,
thank goodness for that. Yeah.
Maybe that's why it caught people's ears. And we would hear the story everywhere we went. At that time, every DJ said they would play it, and people would light up the phones like, "Who the hell was that? What was that?" And I guess we were like the alternative to alternative at that point. So I guess maybe we were the right band at the wrong time, but somehow it clicked, and we've been able to persevere, all these years later, and still be doing what we do.
I've listened to some interviews with you and listened to some things that you said, and it's like, I know some of the influences in your life. I won't make you go through that again, but I mean, it's Bonham, it's Neil Peart, it's with Rush, and it's Keith Moon. And I heard you talk about, you didn't want to become a casualty like some of your favorite drummers, some of the people that you idolized. And so tell me a little bit about the 12 steps and how you've put that into, because a lot of people don't know about the 12 steps and how you put that into some of the songs. And give me a little, tell our audience about that. I think that's really interesting, and I love it. And I commend you for what you've done in your life. And I think it's awesome, brother.
Well, thank you. I mean, that was a series of songs that I wrote with the band, obviously. And, I wrote the lyrics too, and had the concept of, writing about the 12 steps. It was a big, big part of my life at that point. I had just gotten sober in 2000, and the albums we made, the next 5 albums we made at that point had these songs that were interconnected. And I wrote about a few steps on each one. The first song, The Glass Prison, covered steps 1, 2, and 3. Then came This Dying Soul with steps 4 and 5, and so on and so forth, until I had written these 5 songs that covered the 12 steps. And it was, it was pretty cathartic for me. It was therapeutic for me to be able to write about how the steps changed my life and saved my life at that time. And, through the years, I've met so many people that have connected with those lyrics, and it helped them as well, with their struggles. So, yeah, I mean, it was a very important thing for me to get out of my system. And it's still unfinished business because I left the band shortly after we completed the 12-step suite back in 2010. So it's still kind of on my bucket list to eventually come back and perform these 5 songs in its entirety, the way it was meant to happen. So that's something that hopefully will happen down the road still at some point.
I was listening to an interview where you're talking about some of the guys that you played with when you took that break away from the band and you got to play with Tony McAlpine. And it was like a buddy of mine, David Van Landing, who was a lead singer for Michael Schenker Group for a short period of time. He was a good buddy of mine, a good friend of mine. And he actually he played in the band with Tony. I think the band was called Mannequin back in the 80s. And when I heard that, I was like, well, that's kind of cool, because, I haven't heard his name in a while. And when you brought that up, I was like, that's pretty neat.
Well, I had, during my time away, I had so, the honor of working with so many unbelievable guitar players. During those 13 years, I played in bands with Tony McAlpine, Steve Morse, Paul Gilbert, Bumblefoot, Richie Kotzen. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. I mean, I played the Tony McAlpine benefit show. I was with the house band, and at that show alone, I played with Nuno and Tom Morello and Zach Wilde and Steve Vai, and so yeah, the list of guitar players I've been honored to play with over my career is just mind-boggling. I have so much gratitude for it.
We want to ask artists, who was your inspiration and who inspired you? But have you ever been surprised by an artist that's come to you and said, you know what, you've been a big inspiration to me and I'm a big fan, and just kind of floored you and you went, wow, I never thought you would be a fan of me, Has that ever happened to you?
It happens all the time. There's a lot of younger drummers that I guess, I forget that I'm a little older than them, so I forget that maybe they possibly listen to me as well. But yeah, I mean, I'm not going to name drop, but yeah, it happens every day. And so many amazing younger drummers that are on the scene today, and not even younger, so much younger. I mean, even guys that are in their 30s and 40s and have been doing this for 20, 30 years themselves, mention it to me. So it's always the biggest honor, when you hear about that kind of thing. And it's especially cool when it's people you really don't expect, maybe from different genres, that you'd be surprised that they listen to what you have done. But yeah, it's always a big honor and always flattering.
So, when we're talking about different types of music, being a fan outside of prog music, what's a band or artist that you're listening to right now that fans wouldn't expect you to be listening to?
Well, if any fans know anything about me, I don't think anything about my listening taste would surprise them, because I've grown up admiring everything from the Bee Gees to the Osmonds, and I've covered everything from the Bee Gees to the Osmonds, through these years. So I don't think anything would surprise anybody if they know about my musical taste. But there's a lot of weird things I listen to. Right now, my favorite album at the moment is this band called Igor from France. Igor with 3 R's at the end, and it's very crazy ethnic music, but it's also like death metal and Celtic rock and I don't know. It's just a weird combination of different styles. But I have a very, very open mind, and I love everything from the Beatles to Pantera and everything in between. That's just always been my musical taste.
I heard you say about the Beatles, and before in an interview. What is your favorite Beatles song? If you can pick one, I know there's hundreds, but I mean, what is your go-to Beatles song?
There's no go-to. It changes every day. I mean, even my favorite, forget about song. It's hard enough to just name an album. Like my favorite Beatles album, one day it'll be Revolver, one day it'll be Abbey Road, one day it'll be something like Magical Mystery Tour. It changes constantly. The White Album. I put together a Beatles tribute band with Paul Gilbert many, many years ago, and we did 2 series of shows and put them out on DVD and CD. And between those 2 different concerts, I think we played like 75, 80 different songs, covering everything from Flying to You Know My Name, Look Up the Number, and everything in between. So yeah, I'm a Beatles fanatic, and there's no way I could possibly pick a favorite. They all mean so much to me.
What is something new that you've added for our drum geeks this year that you love, that you've added to your kit this year?
Well, no, not that one. Go back one more. That right there. It's not the best shot because you're only seeing a partial bit of the kit, but that's the kit I'm using on Dream Theater's current 40th anniversary tour, and it's a triple bass kit. It's absolutely massive. It's a drum village practically. So yeah, that's my custom kit that I'm using now. I have a couple of them that hopscotch each other on tour over here in Europe at the moment. And it's just a massive Tama, Sabian, Remo, Promark, Latin percussion, drum village. And, at this point in my career, I'm lucky enough to have such great support with all the endorsement companies I work with. And they pretty much build me whatever I could dream of. So yeah.
That's gotta be awesome.
Yeah.
That's gotta be super awesome. All right. Well, let's Uh, one more, and then we're going to talk about the Chesterfield. And I'm going to let you go. So I remember when you were talking about when you were going through your addictions and things like that, that you'd hang out with some of the crew, hang out with some of the other band members from other bands, from the opening acts and things like that. What does Mike do now after a show?
I hate admitting it, but I've really become very, very mellow in my old age. And
Haven't we all?
to me, the perfect day off is, well, like I spent the last 24 hours
Right.
with the other than losing Ozzy, which has been absolutely devastating, but pretty much a perfect day off is sitting in a hotel room, having room service, catching up on a movie or TV show that I'm into, or so yeah, I'm not the social butterfly I used to be. At this point, I really value my private time. And everybody in Dream Theater is kind of like that. We're all kind of boring old family men at this point. We've been doing it a long time. We've seen all these places. We've played every one of these countries 20, 30, 40 times through the years. So at this point, our downtime is more important to us. And we're getting older. We're in our late 50s and 60s, and playing these 3-hour marathon Prog shows takes a beating on you. So to me, a perfect day is where I can go to the hotel spa, relax, maybe get a massage, and just have some quiet time with some room service. That's all I want and need at this point in my life.
Well, I'll tell you what, let's talk about the new album, Parasomnia, and tell us a little bit, give us a quick little synopsis about the album. I love the fact that it's all about dreams and something, which of course goes with the name Dream Theater. And I know you guys kind of laugh about the fact that, it's something that you guys should have done years ago. But tell me a little bit about the new album and what we can expect when you come to Chesterfield. I don't know if you've ever played the Hub. I don't think you have, but I think you're going to enjoy it. It's a great little theater.
Well, we're really proud of the new album, and when I rejoined the band, we immediately went into the studio and started making a new album. So we didn't begin touring until about a year after I reunited with the guys. So the first order of business was to make this album, Parasomnia, and then the second order of business was to get on the road for the 40th anniversary. So we have yet to really fully embrace the new album live. We play a couple of the songs in the 40th anniversary set, but we're looking forward to doing a proper tour, paying attention to the Parasomnia album, which will begin in September. And when we come through town, that will be the focus. We're going to be doing an evening with. The first set will be Parasomnia in its entirety, because it's a bit of a concept album in terms of the way it's laid out, in terms of the flow of the album and the soundscapes and the storylines. It's very much like watching a movie. So we want to be able to present it that way as well. And then with the second set and the encore of the upcoming tour will be a mixed bag of Dream Theater stuff. We've also shared the fact that we're going to be performing A Change of Seasons for the encore, which is celebrating the 30th anniversary of the release of that epic song, which is a 25-minute epic and a fan favorite through the years, which I haven't played with the guys now in a couple of decades. So it's been over 20 years since we performed it together. So between Parasomnia and A Change of Seasons and still celebrating the 40th anniversary and the reunion of this lineup, there's still a lot to celebrate, but we're really looking forward to digging into the Parasomnia album, because we put so much into it, and it was such a special album for us to make.
That's great. Well, we're looking forward to seeing you October 14th. I know I've got tickets. I can't wait to see the show. I appreciate your time. I know it's important to you, and I just appreciate you giving me the time today to get a moment with you and get to chat with you, and wish you guys the best of luck on the last 4 nights of your tour, and looking forward to seeing you, brother. Looking forward to hear the new album.
Thank you, man. Thanks for having me, and good talking to you.
You too, brother.